Governor Bill Richardson, two-term governor of New Mexico, former U.S. ambassador to the UN. And first, though, we're going to watch something, and then we'll get the governor's comments on it. We're going to focus here on ISIS and the president and foreign policy. So watch.
They should know we will follow them to the gates of hell until they are brought to justice, because hell is where they will reside.
Would it have behooved the president to take that tone?
Well, you know, you hear that, though, from an administration that sat passively and watched 200,000 people be killed in Syria, and God knows how many people be killed in Iraq already, and then these two Americans, unfortunately. And it just rings. It's not only that it rings hollow, it's almost offensive, I find it, honestly. You know, if you're not going to do anything, just don't do anything.
All right, folks, that was... of course, Vice President Biden, and then the reaction yesterday on this show from Bill Kristol, the Weekly Standard. And now, as promised, Governor Bill Richardson, of course, two-time governor of New Mexico, former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, and former U.S. Secretary of Energy. Governor, does governor supersede Mr. Ambassador, or which do you prefer?
Well, I think governor does. In American protocol, it's the highest title you can get, so I'll stick with that one, although you can call me Bill, or if you want, you can call me Your Highness, whatever you want.
I like that. No, I know everybody calls you governor. Anyway, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it, as always. What do you make? There's been a lot of talk yesterday and today about this mixed message that the president sent yesterday. He talked tough, how we have to destroy ISIS, not only in the region, but as a threat to the United States. And then a few minutes later, same podium, same press conference, he talked about how working with our allies, we can contain ISIS and make it a livable or a workable problem. What kind of message does that send?
Well, the president... what the president says is most important. He said degrade and destroy, but he also said we've got to do it militarily, diplomatically, and economically. And probably the most important message he needs to send when he's with NATO, with our allies, with Arabs, with other potential coalition partners in fighting ISIS, is that we have to do this strategically, we have to do it correctly, and we have to do it together. And, you know, the president is not a big thumper. He's cool. He's deliberate. He's intelligent. He's rational. And I think he's right now trying to find a mix of military airstrikes with diplomatic initiatives and with ways that strangle this ISIS group from all the funders, Arab funders that are keeping it alive. So this is his style. Presidents have different styles, and I believe it's a strong policy. Military airstrikes are happening in Iraq. They're probably going to be expanded to Syria. We're using equipment, training. We're protecting our people in Iraq. You know, I wouldn't underestimate what this president is going to do in terms of being strong on this issue.
But what about the reports we have now, and nobody's disputing them, that for the past year and a half, the president in his daily briefing has been getting reports about ISIS. We've seen how they have progressed from Syria through Iraq, and we know what their stated goal is. We know that they want a caliphate as big as possible. They want to go right through to Jordan. They know they want to strike us here on our homeland. They've said so in their videos as they beheaded our citizens. So, I mean, has the president been AWOL? Has he missed the boat? Was there a time to act in Syria, earlier in Iraq, or years ago to prevent us from getting to the point that we are in now?
Well, you know, it's on the record when the president wanted support for the airstrikes in Syria a year ago, and he said he was going to do it. I supported him. I think that should have happened. Well, that didn't happen. Because of sending the initiative to Congress or whatever reason. But I think apart from that, he has been strong. I mean, we've been successful in some of the airstrikes in Iraq with the Kurds. There have been significant military advances. But I think what is needed more than anything is not the carping, not the partisanship, but this is a 9/11 moment. This is like a Gulf War moment. I think Republicans and Democrats have to put aside this politics, this, tactics. Does he have a strategy or not, and find a way to come together, because this is a serious threat. They beheaded our people. These are savages, but they are making serious inroads in a very vital region.
And Governor, with all due respect, the president, when he said he had no strategy, then went on to, and you're right, I agree with you, this is a 9/11 moment, which just befuddles me, how a president could say I have no strategy. But having said that, he then said when he gets a strategy, he will bring it to the Congress, and then he wants a vigorous debate. I mean, it sounds to me like this is weeks, maybe months off.
Well, look, I was around. You were too young. I was around during the Gulf War.
I was too young.
Well, James Baker was the Secretary of State. He went close to 30 times to get Syria's support, Assad's father's support. He got it. It took time to build a coalition. You can't expect instantaneous bombing without a strategy, without knowing who you're going to hit, without our best military and diplomatic people. I mean, we got to build support for this. The good news is that there's a lot of people that hate ISIS, Hezbollah, Iran, Iraq, the Saudis, United Arab Emirates, European countries. We got to get the French and the Germans to help us in these military airstrikes. You can't do that in like one speech. We have this instant gratification. He's got to do it today. I mean, my God, the guy's on a plane. Half the time he's got to deal with Russia. He's got to deal with Ukraine. He's got to deal with the Israeli-Palestinian issue, Gaza. I mean, we've never had so many problems at once. Let's give the guy a little break.
Oh, what would you say then? And I'm just asking you, what would you say to those who don't like the fact that he's on the golf course a lot too? And right after the first beheading and expressing his sympathies and his outrage, he ran to the golf course and played golf. John Kerry was windsurfing on Nantucket on Monday. Obama was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, trashing Republicans in his speech. Why weren't they in the White House concocting a strategy?
Well, the president, when he travels, and I was on Air Force One with Bill Clinton. You're constantly able to make decisions. You're constantly in touch. I mean, the guy deserves a little time to be with his family. I mean, this is the most pressurized job in the world. Okay. I think what I would say to those individuals is, one, give the guy a break. Secondly, let's try to build consensus for a comprehensive effort to go after ISIS, but do it right. Let's do it legally. Let's do it constitutionally. Go to the Congress. Have a debate on it. It doesn't mean the debate is endless, but the Gulf War debate, as I recall, didn't happen in 1 or 2 days. It was several days. Let's do it right. That's all I'm saying.
All right, fair enough. Let me ask you one more, sir, and that would be on Russia. The president yesterday saying we'll never accept what Russia did to Crimea. But again, is that those empty words? Because the president has also said with regard to Russia and Ukraine and Crimea, there is no military option. We will not be using troops, U.S. military might, etc. So is it just another way of saying we'll keep the sanctions on? But I mean, what kind of action can we take, or is he threatening by saying we'll never accept Russia and Crimea?
Well, I thought his speech in Estonia was very strong. He basically said, Russia, you're not going to get away with this. And so what's going to happen? One positive effect. The French are not selling helicopters to Russia. That is important militarily and symbolically.
Right, they canceled that, yeah.
European country.
Yeah.
Secondly, sanctions are going to get increased. There's no question about it. Now, there's a ceasefire. We're going to see how that works. But I wouldn't doubt that Putin will try to get out of it. So you're going to tighten sanctions, diplomatic sanctions, tighten energy, banking, financial sector sanctions. And then I think lastly, we're probably going to find ways to help the Ukrainians, give them some weapons, give them ammunition, give them radar, give them training,
right.
Help them out a little more because they're going to need it. And economically, we're in there with the Ukrainians, but there's not going to be boots on the ground in Ukraine.
Right, no, absolutely not.
The
Absolutely
Baltic
not.
states,
Governor.
Listen, Article 5. If you guys are attacked, we're going to be with you.
Right. The NATO.
Defend you, and that was necessary.
Governor,
was
great to talk to you. I'm sorry to cut you. We're up
All
against
right,
the
buddy.
clock. Thank you so much, sir.
All the best.
Take care. All right, Governor Bill Richardson, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, before we go, we want to know your opinion. Should the U.S. strike ISIS in Syria? Go to Newsmax.com/poll and vote.